Problem 3-82. In lesson 3.2.3, you will focus on multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Recall what you learned about multiplying and dividing fractions in a previous course as you answer the questions below. To help you, the following examples have been provided. These are your following examples. 9/16 times 4/6 equals 36/96, which then reduces to 3/8. We also have 5/6 divided by 20/12 equals 5/6. Instead of dividing by 20/12, they're multiplying by the reciprocal. Make sure you take key note of that in case you forgot that. That ends up equaling 60 over 120, which then reduces to 1/2. So, part A. Without a calculator, multiply 2/3 times 9/14 and reduce the result. Then use a calculator to check your answer. Describe your method for multiplying fractions. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into A here. 2/3 times 9/14. So one thing to remember when dealing with fractions, you can either perform your operation here. In this case, we're going to talk about, you can either multiply, then simplify, or you can do the opposite. You can simplify and then multiply. So we'll put or, simplify, then multiply. Got it. All right, so as we look at 2/3 times 9/14, I'll go ahead and do the multiply then simplify method here first. Some of us may have learned that in the past. We know when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across here. We multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Do not cross multiply. Do not cross multiply. It is not a proportion. We are multiplying straight across. 2 times 9 is going to give us 18. And 3 times 14 should give us 42. Now we have to ask ourselves, is this fraction simplified, or are there factors within 18 and 42 that will reduce? Well, always look at the last two numbers first there. We've got 8 and a 2 here, so those are both even numbers, so we know for a fact that at least 2 goes into each of these numbers. And if you want to take it, you can do it step by step if you want. How many times does 2 go into 18? Well, we did 2 times 9 over here to get it, so that's going to be the same thing as saying 9 times 2 over, how many times does 2 go into 42? That's easy. That's going to be 21 times 2. And because this expression has a factor divided by itself here, we know that that is the same thing as 1. So what we're really looking at right now is 9/21 times 1, which we know is 9/21. But does 9/21 reduce any more? Is there a factor that goes into 9 and 21? And there certainly is. We can take this and break it apart as 3 times 3 over 7 times 3, because 21 is the same thing as 7 times 3. Once again, we have a factor divided by itself, and we know that that equals 1. So remember, it doesn't cancel out. It doesn't disappear. It becomes 1 over 1. So 3 times 1 is going to give us 3, and 7 times 1 is going to give us 7. So we end up with 3/7 as our final answer. Now, does it require all that work all the time? No, but if you're not getting it right, you may want to make sure you take the time to do the steps so you don't make a mistake. Now, if we were talking about simplifying and then multiplying, we could always look to see if there's any factors that can cancel first. I'll do that one right down here. So we'll just do the same problem just so you can see another technique for solving it. I have 2/3 times 9 over 14. Well, we know that when we multiply these, they're going to end up being, our 2 and 9 are going to end up being in our numerator, or 3 and our 14 are going to be in our denominator. So we're still looking for factors that end up being in our numerator and our denominator. Well, we know that 9 and 3 each share a factor. That factor is 3. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 9 3 times. Then we're going to look at 2 and 14. What factor do they share? Well, that would be 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So now we've already simplified, and now we'll do our multiplication. So 1 times 3 is going to be 3. 1 times 7 is going to be 7. And you see that we end up with the exact same answer there. We just went about it in a different way. Letter B. We've got 3/5 divided by 12/25. So the first thing we need to do here is we have to get rid of that division. We're going to take it, let's rewrite it as multiplying by the reciprocal. So we have 3/5 times 25/12. Now it's up to you which way you want to solve it. You can do the multiply then simplify method, or you can do the simplify then multiply method. That's completely your decision. I'm going to go ahead and do the multiply then simplify here. If I do 3 times 25, I'm going to get 75. And if I do 5 times 12, I'm going to get 60. Now I'm simply going to ask myself, what numbers go into 75 and 60? If I can go low, I can start with 5 and start breaking it down, or I can look at 15 goes into both of these. 15 is going to go into 75 5 times, so it's like saying 15 times 5, and 15 goes into 64 times. So that would be the same thing as saying 15 times 4. Well, we have a factor divided by itself. We know that is going to be equal to 1. So this is like saying 1 over 1. 1 times 5 is going to be 5. 1 times 4 is going to be 4. So we end up with our answer being 5/4. There's more than one way to do these problems there. You need to make sure, though, that you do whatever it is that you understand that allows you to get them right. If you have additional questions or if you're rusty on the skill, please make sure you ask your teacher or find help from somebody either in school, a friend, online, whoever it is that, understands it and can explain it to you. Thanks for watching, and again, I hope this helped.